Welcome. This is a moon practice to help cultivate a calm and steady mind. Please begin lying down on your back, left hand on your belly and right hand on your chest. Just feel your breath, allowing your body to relax. First, noticing the quality of your breath right now as is. Looking for places where it's smooth and places where it's less than smooth. Now beginning to breathe diaphragmatically. Breathing first into the belly to feel the left hand expand, followed by the right hand. As you exhale, right hand recedes, followed by the left. And just continue in this way for just a few more breath cycles. As we deepen the breath, looking at the breath as the main vehicle for shaping our mind today. So I'm going to have you go ahead and take your arms by your sides now and bend your knees. Begin by lifting the arms and the hips up and overhead with an inhale. Exhale, lower the hips, bring the knees into the chest, hugging them there. As you inhale, take the arms back overhead to the floor as you extend the legs. And then you'll exhale, bring the feet down and the arms down back into the beginning position. Inhale, lift the arms to the floor above the head as you lift the hips. Exhale, knees into the chest. Inhale, legs extend up to the ceiling, arms to the floor. And then returning to the starting position. I'm going to do this 2 more times on your own. Looking for smooth movements in the transitions between the postures. Utilizing Ujjayi to help bring a smooth and more intimate connection in with your breath. Now as you take the feet down and the arms down next, I'm going to have you come up to hold the bridge pose, taking the arms together and interlacing the fingers. You can roll the upper arms in closer. And as you stay here, just really begin to develop the witness component of the mind. Also having the contemplation, I am not my thoughts, I am that which experiences my mind thinking. Please release out of the pose. I'm going to have you roll over to the side and come up onto your knees. If you need some extra padding under your knees, you can place a blanket underneath them. Otherwise, inhale and extend the arms. Exhale, sweep the arms to the side as you lower in child's pose. You're going to inhale, sweep the arms back up, spine long. Follow the navel into the spine, turn the chin as you descend down, chest to the thighs. As you inhale, followed by the exhale, again finding that smooth transition in between your poses. Also seeing if you, as you descend to child's pose, get the chest to hit the thighs just before the hips get to their lowest point. Now I'm going to have you finish the round you're working on. Simply sit up into Vajrasana. If you're not comfortable on the tops of your feet, you can place a block or a blanket in between the ankles. We're going to do some brief pranayama. This is called Chandra Bedana. You're going to take your right hand up to your face, extend the ring and little finger and thumb, and go ahead. You're going to inhale through your left nostril, and exhale through the right. So this is the practice. You'll keep inhaling through the left and exhaling right. So we let go of the Ujjayi breathing here, no holding of the glottis. And I'll have you start to extend your exhales twice as long as your inhales. Feel almost immediately just a corresponding response on the level of mind. Maybe a greater sense of focus, feeling more present, less distracted. Go ahead and lower the hands down. Moving into tabletop position, take an inhale here. And now as you exhale, hips back towards the heels. I'm going to have you continue with that 1 to 2 breathing ratio, potentially inhaling for 4 seconds. And as you exhale, rounding the spine, slight bend to the elbows, try to extend your exhales towards 8. We're going to utilize this breath ratio at times throughout the practice to bring about more of this calm and steadiness to the mind, which the yogis found crucial to develop to make any significant progress in yoga practice. Go ahead and curl your toes under. Lift up to downward facing dog. And stay here, really developing this quality of shtiram. So by now, having adjusted your posture as needed, and then take these last breaths to really stay still, not minutely adjusting your posture anymore. Please step that right foot forward in between the hands, and we'll come to standing for a closed hip posture. You're going to extend your left arm up and exhale, fold forward and out over the right leg. Try to keep the upper arm level with the ear. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, fold. Nice. Inhale, come all the way up. So we're going to continue with this practice, extending out of the left waist, come all the way down. Try extending those exhales to 8 seconds again. As you inhale for 4, coming up halfway. Exhale, folding further forward over the right leg, and then rising up. And do this 2 more times on your own. Want to stay established in the back leg, nice and rooted through that outer left heel. Left thigh strong and internally rotating towards the back wall. So the next time you lower all the way down, you're going to stay. And I'll actually have you extend that left arm to the floor, walking it a few inches forward to increase that lengthening out of the left waist. Try not to over round in your chest. You want to keep the sense of the collarbones coming forward. Even here, maintaining that 1 to 2 breathing ratio. No interruptions between inhale and exhale. You're going to take the right hand down, move the right foot back, downward facing dog. Find symmetry in the body. Find that quality of shtiram. And if you'd like, you can come forward to plank, taking a vinyasa, either to chaturanga or the floor, and rising up cobra or upward facing dog. Otherwise, you can choose to stay in downward dog. But now please step your left foot forward, preparing for the other side. Left hand, back of the palm to the sacrum, right arm extends. As you exhale, fold out over the left leg. Inhale, come up halfway, long spine, and exhale, fold. Rising all the way up from the back of the heart. You're going to continue 3 more times on your own. So first we come down all the way, come up half to find more length. Exhale, fold. Rising all the way up again, maintaining that 1 to 2 breathing ratio. Forward folds are a helpful component to a moon practice. They literally take us into ourselves, away from external surroundings, starting to engender a greater internal focus and quietness. So now you're going to stay down. Take the right fingers, extending them forward by a few inches, and really breathe into all that sensation that you're feeling. The right leg strong and anchored into the floor. Roll that outer right hip forward and the left hip back. And we'll return to downward dog now. Heels lift, coming forward to plank pose. You can choose to come into this variation of upward dog, down to chaturanga, upward dog with toes curled under, and pull back downward dog. Or, as always, you can choose to just stay downward dog. We're going to step that right foot forward again, same configuration, and preparing for a variation of Warrior One. Bend the front knee, take the arms behind the back, interlace the fingers. As you squeeze the upper arms together and sink the hips so you've got the right knee over the ankle, we're going to take a bowing Warrior One. Take the right chest over the right thigh. As you're ready, go ahead and extend the arms up towards the ceiling. And as you adjust your footing, it's easy for the hips to really displace to the right, so you want to hug in and even hug the hips towards the left. If you want to go deeper, you can slide the torso along the inside of the right leg. We want to keep the gaze to the floor. As you start to lower incrementally down, keep that sense of the collarbones extending. Please try to relax the breath and come up. Come to center, adjust. Woo, yes, it's quite a pose. And then we'll take ourselves to the other side. So you're just gonna basically turn 90 degrees, or 180, I'm sorry, on your mat. And go ahead, bend the left knee now. Taking the arms behind the back to interlace the fingers. And as you're ready, folding forward, left side of the chest to the left thigh. So get established, rooted through the outer right foot and heel, right thigh strong. And then you'll take the arms up and overhead. You want to have some attention to encourage the hips to the right because they will want to strongly go to the left. And then either staying with chest to the thigh or starting to take the upper body along the inner leg. Gaze to the floor. Breath smooth, relaxed. Try to bring more softness to the breath. Please come up and step back to the front of the mat. Feel, pause, notice what's happening, especially on the level of mind. I'm going to have you extend the arms and exhale, lower them down. Just a few arm lifts here. You can choose to elevate the heels as you inhale, and then exhale, lower the heels down, arms to the side. Just going to do a couple of these. Next time you exhale, please bend the knees, chair pose. So we're just going to stay in the chair pose for about 5 breaths. Please emphasize a sense of containment and firmness at the pelvic floor, emphasizing root lock on your exhale. Exhale only. Coming back up to standing. Lift the arms again, and I'm going to have you exhale, sweep the arms to the side like we did in the warm-up, but lower down towards Uttanasana. Sweep the arms wide as you come up, slight flex to the knees. Exhale, lead from the heart, come back down, one hand on top of the other at the sacrum. Inhale to rise. And exhale to fold. You can also choose to extend the arms overhead to build more strengthening, that steadiness structurally, especially along the muscles of the spine, but only if this doesn't strain the low back. Otherwise, just keep sweeping your arms to the sides. Last one coming up. And then please lower down to the floor, Uttanasana. Grabbing hold of the big toes, or your hands can go on a block. Just lift the heart with one inhale and exhale, fold. As you become more steady, you become more conscious of the parts of you that are unsteady. This is both right here, right now on your mat, but this is also where we take the lesson of the practice off the mat. So we cultivate this calm and steadiness. We can actually see the things that aren't helping us in our lives and choose to change them. So please rise back up. Take a moment to pause and feel. And sliding the hands back down the legs, move back downward facing dog. Reestablishing yourself in the witness. I'm going to have you come forward to plank, lower to the floor. We're going to set up for a pose called Makarasana. So you're going to take your feet as wide as the mat and turn onto the inner edges of the feet. So you create this external rotation of the legs. Now with the arms, you're coming up onto the forearms, elbows slightly wider than the shoulders, but you want to negotiate this posture so that the rib cage, all the ribs are lifted off of the mat. But then we lower the head down to the hands. And if it's easier, you can choose to stack the fists, if that's more comfortable for your neck. So the elbows are forward enough so that the belly is still on the floor, but that the rib cage is lifted. And now in this posture, you have to breathe diaphragmatically. So as you're breathing in, feeling the belly press to the floor, allow that breath to fill the lower back and pelvis. And I'd like you to breathe as smoothly and slowly as possible. in order to more completely understand ourselves and our patterns, and to ultimately free ourselves from that pattern thinking of behavior, we need to step out of the momentum of those patterns. So I'm going to have you release out of the posture, coming to hands and knees position. Please bring that right knee forward slightly to the outside of the wrist and prepare for pigeon pose. Take that left leg way back. Lower down onto the forearms, and initially in this hold, we're going to do roughly a 2-minute hold. You're going to lift that back knee. So you curl the back toes under, keep the back knee lifted. Really firm the thigh, remaining on the forearms. You're also gently pressing the outside of the right calf into the floor. You can go ahead and walk the arms forward as you lower the back knee to the floor, top of the foot down if you prefer. Getting yourself as low and as long as possible through the spine. Please come back into that 1 to 2 breathing. Remembering the contemplation, I am not my thoughts. I am that which experiences my mind thinking. Invite witness consciousness. We're going to go ahead and exit out of the pose. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Let the backs of the knees stretch. Again, find symmetry, but also feel the difference on the two halves. I'm going to bring the left knee forward to the outside of the left wrist. Go ahead and walk the right leg back and lower the forearms to the floor. So in the first part of this hold, you're going to elevate the back knee with the right toes curled under. Please stay here with all the forward folding we've been doing. This is just a helpful variation of this pose here. The breath is steady and smooth. You're reestablished in that 1 to 2 breathing. If you've lost touch with it, I'm going to have you lower the right knee down now, and go ahead, take yourself lower to the floor if you're able to. You can always stack the fists, head to the fist like you were in with Makrasana, the crocodile pose, or you can extend long. So an element of the moon practices is we do fewer postures and we hold them longer. Staying ever watchful of the breath and whatever may surface and the level of mind, but also taking this position of command over the mind. That you are the authority over mind. And please exit out of the pose. I'll just have you stay seated, extend the legs forward, pulling the flesh back from the sits bones. We're going to take a spinal twist. Bend your right knee, cross it over the left leg. You can choose to stay here with the left leg extended. We're taking Ardha Matsyendrasana by bending the left knee, heel to the outside of the right hip. We'll go ahead and take a hold of the left knee with the crease of the elbow, or elbow to the outside of the right knee, And take the right arm back. I'm taking a variation here, which can be quite juicy for that space between the shoulder blades, of dialing, if you're able to get the elbow to the outside of the knee, dialing the forearm down along the length of the thigh. We're remaining in that 1 to 2 breathing. One to two breathing will bring about more of a calming effect. If you find after doing this practice that it's a little too calming, you can stay with 1 to 1 breathing more often. Now please, with eyes closed, turn the chin over that left shoulder. I'm going to have you elevate the left forearm now to take chin mudra, index finger touching the thumb. And as you close your eyes, just gazing inward into the midbrain, the third eye. Please come out of the posture. Set up for the other side. Either right leg is extended with the left foot crossed over or right knee bent. So you take hold of that left knee, the crease of the elbow, or elbow to the outside of the knee. Go ahead and take the left arm behind. On this side, it's easier for you to see that variation with my arm. Something to play with. Just noticing at this point in the practice that quality of smoothness in the breath, if it's more palpable, more silky now. Keep broadening through the collarbones, navel spinning to the left. The gaze gets very steady. And closing the eyes, turning the chin over the right shoulder, elevating the forearm, chin mudra, index finger into the thumb. Just awareness at the midbrain. This is seen as the gateway to witness consciousness, Ajna Chakra. And please release out of the pose. So you're going to prepare for a dynamic seated forward fold. Bend the knees enough so you can get your feet flat. You could also choose to elevate your hips on a blanket as we come to a seated forward fold, if that's helpful for you. And the feet are slightly wider than the mat. Please elevate the arms and inhale. And as you exhale, come forward in between the legs. You're going to inhale, reach out and up. And exhale, navel into the spine, extend forward. Good. And now as you fold forward, we're going to stay down. Coming into this variation of Upavista Konasana, wide-legged forward fold, you'll be slightly more narrow than the way you may usually practice. You want to be elevating the toes. Think about drawing the heels back towards the hip sockets, but then drawing forward and potentially down towards the floor with the torso without collapsing the chest. You want to keep some sense of openness, an extension of the collarbones. Just breathe. You see me here grabbing the big toes. You can choose to utilize that or keep the hands to the floor. Breathe deep, very deeply. As if you could send that breath all the way into the belly and the pelvic floor. As you continue to find more space, keep that breath smooth and steady. Walking the hands back up. Please bring the legs together now, and we'll do one more forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Extend the arms up, fold down to catch the toes or the shins, and rise back up. Exhale, fold, and one more lift. And then exhale to stay down, but as the hands stay down, I'll have you just lift the heart one time. Making any final adjustments and taking your seat in the pose. As best you can, come to that place of Shtiram, where we stop minutely adjusting and you stay steady and still in the posture. The gaze is also steady, soft focus. Walk the hands back up. Slide the hips to the center of the mat, lower down on your back. Just a few more bridge poses to adjust the spine. Inhale, lift the hips. I'm not asking for your highest bridge. And then exhale, lower down. You can just keep the arms alongside the body and do this a couple more times on your own. And you'll go ahead, take your final one, stay up for about 3 breaths, 2 to 3 breaths. Send the spine deeper into the body. And then lower the hips, please. Take the legs long and prepare for Shavasana. So as you settle into the pose, allow your body to open to the earth. Just let the breath go involuntary. Feeling its quality now is when you first lied on your back at the beginning of the practice. What's changed? So I will have you now return to that 1 to 2 breathing for just a few minutes. And I'm not asking you to have big, deep volume to your breath. At this point in the sequence, the breath is fairly shallow. And so you're just looking, the breath is more subtle and shallow, and that you're just shaping the length now, not the volume. 1 to 2 breathing. Now, if it's comfortable, you're going to place a brief pause after the exhale, about half of the amount that you're inhaling or that full amount that you're inhaling. So if you've been breathing in for 4 and out for 8, you would pause the breath after exhale anywhere between 2 and 4 seconds. In that pause, the mind effortlessly slips into that restful awareness, the abode of the witness consciousness. Now I'll have you return the breath to that involuntary relaxed flow for the remaining portion of the relaxation. No more shaping. Simply surrender and rest in being. Begin to deepen your breath. So you're ready, you can bend your knees and roll to your side. And go ahead and come up to a seated posture for the finishing practices. We're going to return to that pranayama we did in the very beginning, that brief pranayama. So creating the Vishnu Mudra, gentle fist with the right hand, extend the thumb and the ring and little finger. You're going to place the the ring finger over the left nostril, exhale the right. And then closing off the right, inhale left. So there's no ujjayi here, and as you get established in the breath, see if you can start to extend exhales again, twice as long as your inhales. Chandra Bedna. Continue to inhale left and exhale right. That's the whole practice. As you come to exhale out your right nostril, go ahead and end the practice. We're going to do an abbreviated version of Still Lake of the Mind. So since your mind is like the still surface of a calm lake, and if you sense movement in the mind, just see it as ripples moving across the surface. As you retrieve your attention, allow your mind to dissolve back into that still surface of that calm, clear lake. Don't overly force the visualization. We simply rest in that feeling of a calm lake more so than try to see it. Feel that your awareness and intention and attention is linked as one. The mind becomes so still that to move away from that stillness feels unnatural or undesired. Just do your best to stay absorbed in the still lake of the mind. Taking a deep breath, lower the chin down to release the practice, hands in front of the heart. Just pause for a moment of gratitude within. Rub the palms. Cup those warm palms over the eyes, opening them here to transition out of the practice. Thank you so much. Namaste.